So needs and wants. This section can actually lead on to two different types of questions. So you can have a format question that's distinguished between needs and wants and give examples. And you can also have usually a format question about opportunity cost and relating it to a case study. So needs. You probably already know in your own mind what needs and wants are, but very, very commonly in the exam, students define needs as things that you need and wants as things that you want. So be very cautious of doing that. So needs are resources that are essential for living. And they're usually limited or finite in what you need. So water, food, shelter, love, possibly that was on an old Marks game, an old past paper. So maybe, I don't know if love is finite, but you know, there's only so much water you need, or so much food you need, or so much shelter that you need. So needs, they're usually quite limited, and there's quite a you can state what things humans need to survive, whereas wants are any resources that are not essential, but they're desired, and they can be pretty unlimited or infinite in their nature. So a top of the range car, or a large house, or lots of money, or you know, you can make a really long list of all those things. So scarcity just means that it's in limited supply, it's rare, and it's insufficient to meet all of your wants. So all the things that you'd want to be able to do, the reason you can't do them all is because there's a sense of scarcity. So in terms of, well, what is scarce in terms of a business? Well, the amount of raw materials they have. They can only make so many products with the raw materials, or they only have so many workers or employees, so they have to think about, well, what's going to be the best use of their time, and so on and so on. And I think that relates to your own life as well. You know, you're limited in terms of the time you have to revise. You can't revise absolutely every little thing, so you have to make priorities, and you know, the priority should be revising the areas you struggle with first. Okay, so because resources are scarce, you need to make a decision. You need to think about how you're going to use your time most effectively. And businesses have to make choices all the time. So they might be quite big choices, such as, you know, we've got some money, so we could either expand into different countries, or we could expand our product range, but we can only do one of them, so we have to make a choice. Or when they've got applicants for jobs, they might have to decide between two applicants. They think they're both great, but who would be the best, because they can only afford to employ one person. Okay, now this leads on to the concept of opportunity cost. So you just need to learn this definition. Opportunity cost is the cost of the next best alternative, which is foregone when a choice is made. So if we have an example of Cherry Coke or a Mars bar, now imagine I can only afford to purchase one of these, and I decide to purchase the Cherry Coke. Now, I've done that. It's just a personal decision because I prefer Cherry Coke to a Mars bar. But by purchasing the Cherry Coke, I've given up the opportunity to have all the benefits of whatever the Mars bar would have brought me, you know, that chocolatey full feeling, or whatever the benefits would be. So that's why it's called opportunity cost, because it's a cost to you because you've given up that opportunity. Okay, so very, very interesting, but why is it relevant? Because it's not actually something you'd actually have to pay out, the opportunity cost. Well, if we imagine that there's a factory here, and we can say this factory, you know, whatever, it makes hats or something, and you say each year it makes £3 million profit, you might think, wow, that's really good. It looks like a really good investment. But if you look at what else you could have invested your money into, these two examples of you know, shoe factories or something, and they're making £5 million profit each, you might then start to think, well, 3 million, it's not looking as good. Still looks good, but not as good as it looked before. So opportunity cost is a really good concept in business and in economics, because it gets us to look at what are the alternatives, what else could I have used this money for when I made this decision. Okay, so we need to distinguish between needs and wants. So needs are finite and they are required for survival, they are essential for living. Wants are items that are desired and they're usually infinite. Opportunity cost is the cost of the next best alternative foregone. And the concept of opportunity cost is that you can only spend your time or your money doing usually one thing at once. So you give up the opportunity to do the other thing. So, you know, you've just watched this presentation, and I'm sure there are other things that you could have done with your time. And that was your opportunity cost because you gave up the benefit of, I don't know, watching 5 minutes of maybe a more interesting YouTube video. But hopefully this is going to help you in your exam though.